If you'd like to talk
Yeah, he
about
did.
combat sports and you want to join the discussion, click
She
the
said when
subscribe
she
button
sees you,
below
it's on
and the bell
site.
notification icon next to it.
She was saying this while the intro was playing, and I wasn't talking to her. Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, welcome to the Fighters Rep video podcast. I am your host, who's under strict scrutiny from our guest on the show once again, Chad the Savage George. There he is, Chad. Thank you so much for joining the Fighters Rep video podcast again with a glass of whiskey. How are you doing today, brother?
I am doing as well as I can, but since I've got my dinner, I've got my whiskey, I'm good.
I love it. I love it. Well, you know, this video we're doing today is about the coronavirus shutting down gyms. Chad, George, the shit has hit the fan, my brother. This is the worst thing I think that we've ever seen, really, as far as a natural disaster out here. That's not an earthquake. I mean, this is the worst that it can get. What's going on in the world of Chad George right now in the gym game?
Well, I think it's much worse than any kind of an earthquake, right? Because this is something that's impacting not just that localized community. This is or area, region. This is impacting everyone everywhere, and it's we're in a crazy time. As far as the gym industries goes, we're getting hit bad. You know, we're getting knocked down, and we're picking ourselves back up. But it's apparent that every time we get back up, every day goes on, new news come out, and we just get knocked right back down. So it's a very tough time for the economics of the gym. And it's also a tough time for the people of the gym mentally, because a lot of us, we train to give our peace of mind, to help our mind get better, and help our body get better. It's really our therapy, and it's tough, man. With everything being shut down, none of us get that therapy.
I agree, man. I'm starting to fall apart over here. Even though I was only going to the gym a couple times a week, I'm starting to, eat a lot more than I should be eating sitting indoors, Chad.
This is that time where we talk about deciding to be a champion. We go to the gym, we train, we get that motivation, and now it's really up to us to motivate ourselves to not go crazy on the eating. Because let's be honest, we don't know what the stores are going to look like here shortly. They're already looking scarce. We need to take our opportunities with this and let our mind be what drives us to get through this, not only just healthy, but get through this period.
Chad, the gym's been open. You're in your, what, sixth year now, you said?
Yep, 6th year.
I mean, have you ever had to close the gym down for anything ever?
No, this is a first. This is one of those things that it was heartbreaking for me. I stayed open as long as I could. I saw the suggested closures come from the city, and then when we got it from our direct city in Gardena, it was just heartbreaking, man. I didn't want to send a letter out to the students because I know how important it is, not only for my staff, my team, but the students and our kids and the families. It's something that we've been building for so long. And I mean, this is a community. It's not just a gym. We are a family community place where we are helping each other get along, and we don't have that now. And it's heartbreaking. It really is.
That really stinks to hear, man. I'm hoping this thing blows over. What about the Southgate location? Did you close both simultaneously, or was it one after the other?
Yeah, we had to do them both simultaneously. It was one of those things that we had to beat the curve. We probably could have stayed open, but it's just, with this thing spreading the way that it is, we have to do our part. And, it's hard because this is something that I've built my entire life for. I've been building for this academy. I've been building to empower people. And now it's like, okay, it's a different game now. It's a different fight. It's a different challenge. I truly believe we're going to get past this, but it's not going to be easy. We're going to have to figure out these tough times during, and then it's also going to be the rebound coming after. So there's the battle of the unknown happening. And that's what's the scariest thing is we don't know how long it's going to take. The city gave us a 7-day mandatory shutdown, but I know it's going to be at least to the 31st. And then I think, there's a good possibility that's going to be even extending beyond that.
This is obviously hurting a lot of the independent businesses, not just the big corporate ones, but probably more so the independent ones, the mom and pop shops, the smaller businesses, because they don't have that huge financial backing to kind of prop them up. They can't just get rid of, a couple hundred or a couple thousand employees to stay open. I mean, what do you tell the small and medium business owners of the United States at this time? You're one of those guys, you live off this gym. What do you tell these people to keep their heads up and their hopes up?
The thing is that if we've been able to build it once, we'll be able to build it again. And if we've been able to build it, we can take the blueprints of what we've done and really build that next chapter, that 2.0 version of whatever we have. We can't rely on what the past has looked like. We can't rely on the fact that we had these things that we built. Guess what? There's a good there's a good chance that we're going to have to rebuild again, and we're going to have to rebuild with the same motivation, the same feeling that we had into this thing that made us start this business. What I would say is, for all the small businesses out there, including gyms, restaurants, ask your patrons, like, in this time of need, support your local businesses as much as you can. If you can keep buying from places, keep buying from them. If you can keep paying gym dues, keep paying them, because those all need to be there once this thing blows over, however long it takes. And that's the really thing that we need to reach out for, is make sure that support of the community is there behind these small businesses, because it's only you guys that are going to allow us to stay in business once this thing passes.
I mean, this is a situation, Chad, like no other, right? Because typically if a business fails, let's say your business fails, you can go drive an Uber, you can, do several other things to kind of keep yourself afloat. But here we have a situation where people are being told not to even leave the home.
Yeah, it's only going to get worse. We're hitting the initial phase of this. We're like in day 3 of this close down. I mean, imagine what it's going to be like at day 7, day 14, day 21, day 31. And whatever and on extends past that. We're just scratching the surface here, and I think we're going to really start seeing the ugly truth in these next couple of weeks. As much as I hate to say it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you say ugly truth. Do you mean just the further sort of amplification of what we're seeing now, or do you think things will deteriorate and different kinds of problems will arise?
I think the problems that we're going to rise from people getting desperate. It's tough enough already. I'm not talking about just small business. I'm talking about people that are just struggling day to day to get by. Small businesses are one thing, but the people that work in small businesses, the people that are working on the outside, day to day is hard enough to get by. And now we're talking about maybe having no work for 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. I mean, you're going to start seeing people getting desperate, and this can potentially turn into a very scary time to be on the streets.
Yeah, wow. Well, I know what you mean by that. I mean, we've already got enough of our issues out here in Los Angeles, even without these sorts of pandemics happening. I mean, I can't believe I'm even saying that, to be honest with you. 2 weeks ago, I don't think any of us thought, especially here in the United States, that things would be this way.
I mean, this is crazy. We talk about we're in the greatest time that our country's ever been in, and this is the most powerful, the most thriving, and now we're right in the middle of this. This is absolutely crazy, Nobody knows what to expect. Nobody knows how to handle this. There's no blueprints. The only thing people can say is stay positive. There's no entrepreneurial avenue that you can approach this. There's no business venture that you're like, hey, I can capitalize this. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some things that people are doing, but it's not about that. Now it's literally about, okay, how are we going to get through this as a society? How are we going to get through this as a country? How are we going to get through this as a people? This is a very interesting time, and it's it's the fear of the unknown, and people are going to start acting out with that unknown.
What's the long-term damage? I mean, we don't know how long this is going to last, but what's going to be the long-term damage of this to the fight game? With all these gyms shutting down, the majority of the top gyms being small or medium-sized businesses in the fight game, let's face it, and with all the fights getting canceled and postponed, what's going to be the long-term damage to the fight game here, if any?
Well, the problem is the guys aren't able to train. So if guys aren't able to train, there's no fights. If there's no gyms for people to train out, there's no training. I'm sure people can go outside and they can do their training a little bit, but that's not enough to get you ready for an elite level competition, Yeah. So then on top of that, nobody's going to be able to afford to buy tickets to these things. Nobody can afford to buy pay-per-views. Nobody's going to be afford to go to events to watch these fighters. So it's going to be tough, man. The bounce back is going to be really hard from this, especially when you see the stock market. I mean, every day it's just plummeting. It's just taking a stage dive. And like for myself included, my savings are in my stocks. And man, I don't even want to look at the stocks every day because it makes me just want to cry. Seriously.
It's crazy, man, and I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, I'm thinking, wishful thinking. I'm thinking everything will bounce back eventually, but yeah, this is definitely hurting everybody right now, and I think everybody needs to stay calm.
I mean, they're talking by the end of March, there's going to be 1 million people out of jobs.
Wow. And
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I mean, look at the gym industry, right? So you got fighters. What do they do in between fights? They teach classes. They teach privates. That's the only way they stay afloat, so they can get to the next fight, so they can make a little bit of money, so they can pay their bills. That's it. Now, with gyms closing down, that doesn't exist. So you have all these people that are just literally able to make no money. Even with me, with my academy, I'm doing the best that I can. I'm still paying my staff. I'm still paying my coaches, even though we're closed.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do this as long as I can.
Well, very noble of you. I wouldn't expect anything less from somebody with the amount of humanity and empathy that you have. And I say that because there seems to be a lack of empathy in a lot of the people at the top level. I'm not going to call out any specific names, but, just today, it looks like, some of the major federal facilities were closed. And as far as the elections go, I mean, they've still got people going to voting centers to vote for the primaries despite this ridiculous pandemic. I mean, what are your thoughts on the leadership's handling of this sort of thing? I mean, I'm feeling it's a little bit sociopathic, if I'm being honest with you.
It is. It's I'm not one to get into politics, but we don't need to get into politics right now. We don't even need to have that stuff thrown around. What we need is a leader today. We need somebody on the front lines to assure the American people that everything's going to be okay, that we're going to get through this, and this is how we're going to do it collectively. That's what we need. Yeah. We need somebody on the front lines that's going to admit that I don't know what the answer is, but we are here together. We need to bring the unity of our nation together. That's what makes the American people strong. And we need somebody in the front lines doing that. And unfortunately, we don't have that right now.
What do you say to all these Florida beachgoers? Have you seen that?
Get the fuck indoors. Like, why? Like, it's crazy. The entire country is being locked down. And you guys want to say, oh, well, we're outside and we're not touching door. I heard one interview, guys, get some guy go, well, we're okay. We're not touching doorknobs and we're not shaking hands.
Maybe they think the salt water kills it, Chad. They say it's good for your sinuses.
Okay, well, guess what? Go get infected. Have fun.
It's crazy, my man. It's
absolutely crazy. The rest of the world is getting locked down. You guys are going to go, well, I'm on spring break.
It's, it's sad to see, man. It's really sad to see, especially as a native South Floridian. I hate to say it, but you can always find crazy in Florida, my brother.
It's just crazy, man. Like, get over your own bullshit. Like, if you think, you're higher than this, do some reading. And here's the worst part about it. All these people have their surface value.